What's up, all stars? Are you ready for a killer Halloween episode?
That's what you brought today.
I woke up early for that. I thought I could sell it with my voice, yeah?
How many times did you practice that?
A lot in front of the mirror, actually.
Okay.
It's not as great as I thought it was in my head. Is that what you're saying?
It's scary. It's really scary.
That's what I was going for. But really, we are very, very excited today to have a person on the show who has not only been a Gordon family friend for over 2 decades, but is also forever cemented as one of the most favorite characters on one of the most recognizable television franchises in TV history.
I'm sure all of you are very familiar with the show that he worked on. Currently, the actors and anything that is related to film or TV is called strike work. So I can't say the whole entire title of the show he used to be on, but I'm going to say a little bit and then you'll know what it is. He worked on a show called Buffy, blah, blah, blah.
Wow. Oh my God. Okay.
So if you've heard of Buffy, blah, 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 you definitely know everyone's fan favorite character named Clem. Clem was a demon.
A loose-skin demon, yeah.
He is here today. I'm so excited for him to share his latest project called Slayers, which is an Audible original set in the Buffy verse, which means it's 10 years later. They've brought back old characters. Obviously, he's one of them. And they brought in new characters. It's a multiverse setting. It is really cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got James Charles Leary in the hot seat. It sounds so weird. I can't even say that.
I know. It's so ridiculous.
Grab a pillowcase, kiddies. We've got Jimmy Leary, and he's bringing the big candy bars today on Skiptown All-Stars Halloween Edition.
Let's get Jimmy going.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey listeners, ever wonder what it would be like to blow up your comfort zone at the tender age of 50? Well, we did just that. When our last kid went off to college, we hit the road in search of a new hometown. Now we bounce from city to city and bring you along for the ride. This is the Skiptown All-Stars podcast.
What's up, All-Stars? Welcome back for another episode, a very special episode today for Halloween. We are psyched beyond belief, I say, to welcome to the show James Charles Leary. Welcome to the show, Jimmy. Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Jimmy, as we know him, is a almost a 25-year-old friend of ours. That came out wrong. You're definitely not 25 years old. No. We have been friends for
almost 25 when we met.
That's true. That's true. We are coming up on our silver anniversary of friendship, which I am also very excited about. It's so great to have you here today. For those who don't know because of the makeup, you are the world famous Clem, the droopy-skinned demon from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Loose-skinned. No, that's loose-skinned.
Oh,
I'm
loose-skinned.
contractually bound to say that it's loose-skinned. No, I'm not. I'm just messing with you.
Anyway, welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much. I am so happy to be here. And as you said, we have been friends for 23 years since our eldest children went to preschool together.
That's right.
That's true.
The lovely city of Los Angeles.
That's right.
In the valley.
In the valley.
In the valley.
Jimmy, the valley is popular now. The valley is popping off.
Wait, what?
It's the new Silver Lake.
Yeah.
It's the new Silver Lake.
Okay, so let's get into how the two of you met before I was ever in the picture, before I ever knew you. Why don't you tell us about your little party that you guys went to?
Oh
my God.
Yeah. So we actually met at our kids' preschool, and we both got invited to a birthday party, and it was such a typical LA kids' birthday party.
Ridiculous.
Who was there, Jimmy? Who was there?
Brandon Boyd
from Incubus.
Was how you and I met, because I have been a longtime fan of the band Incubus.
Yes.
Who Brandon Boyd is the lead singer of. And I've got my eldest, Jonathan, who is about I think 3 months younger than your eldest Parker.
Yes.
Which is how we met. And all these little kids are running around. Everyone's running around, like just doing little kid stuff. And I'm sitting out in the middle of like a bouncy playhouse. Like there's slides and there's a ball pit and there's a squishy floor. And I'm sitting there, and like this little kid runs up, and this cute little kid runs up, and blah, 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 blah. And the parents come up, and I'm like, "That's the lead singer of Incubus."
Yeah.
And it was, but it
And
wasn't.
I'm like, "Hey man, I'm James." He's like, "Yeah, my name's Brandon." I was like, "Cool, man." And then I run over to the only other person who is roughly our age, because everyone else in that joint was 10 years older than us.
Oh yeah, right. The
Oh.
LA thing to have children late.
LA
That's
thing,
true.
you have children when you're
we
50.
were all young parents together. That's right.
We were in our 20s.
It's true.
Yeah.
Long time ago. And I don't know why I came up to you, Denise, because I think I saw you looking, like going like, and I'm like, "Hey, is that that's the lead singer of Incubus, right?" And you were like, "Yeah, pretty sure it is." And that's how we just started an entire conversation.
Yep.
About music, and then you met my then wife, and the
Then we
rest
all
is
just-
history.
Yeah, but that's pretty much a typical LA party. I mean, living in LA,
Yeah.
It's just, I would always laugh because people would say when they would come to visit, I want to see a movie star. And I would say, let's go to the Ralphs in Studio City.
That plaza is where I saw Dave Grohl. So that became all of the rockers who now had children. That became their new Ralphs.
Oh, I saw.
Everyone was living in the valley.
Yeah, I saw
Exactly.
Julianne Moore there. I saw so many people at that Ralph's. I mean, really, It was incredible. So when people
I
would
met
say,
Michael Biehn there.
Oh no way!
"Oh, really?"
Yeah,
Awesome.
he was literally like two people behind me in line buying toilet paper, and I just turned around and was like, "Hey man, are you Michael Biehn?"
No, you didn't. No, you did not.
He was like, "Yes, I am. I think you're awesome, man."
Oh, that's
it. You had
great.
a little
Dude.
fan geek
Appreciate you.
moment.
Oh, totally. And he was
Okay.
like, "Toilet paper."
Yeah, I had a similar. I mean, my moment with Dave Grohl was similar. He was in the
It's the greatest
Blockbuster
interaction
store.
I've ever heard in my entire life.
He's in the Blockbuster store, and I walk around the corner. Back when tells you how old it was. Blockbuster. I know that
Wait,
fossil.
what is that?
I know.
So I walk around the corner, and there's Dave Grohl, and I said, "Oh my God, Dave Grohl! What are you doing in my Blockbuster?" And he shrugs his shoulders, but in his hand he has two movies.
Do you remember what they were?
He's like, "Hey, I don't actually. I was just so dumbfounded at the
I
time."
know.
He was really nice. It was a quick interaction. I was like, "Okay, anyway, thanks for visiting." Yeah.
Yeah. We lived in Bobcat Goldthwait's ex-wife's house.
Well, let's
Yeah,
talk
okay,
about how
yeah,
you got to LA.
So yeah, you're obviously you did very well on Buffy, but let's just go to Baby Jimmy. Where did Baby Jimmy come from?
I'm originally from New York, so my entire family's from like Queens. My grandparents are from Queens. My grandfather was a New York City fireman for 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy. So my parents got divorced very young. We moved in with my grandparents. We were there on Long Island, and my grandfather had built like a vacation home in New Hampshire, out in the middle of nowhere. Like when I say the middle of nowhere, I mean on a dirt road.
Oh.
You had to go down a dirt road to get to this house, and they couldn't pave the road because at one point George Washington had ridden down the road.
Oh my gosh! So it was like a
It's still
historical
a dirt
landmark.
road,
Oh my God,
That's
awesome.
incredible.
and it drove my grandfather bananas.
I'm
'Cause
sure
he
it
was a
did.
New York City boy. He was like, just pave the road.
Yeah.
So in like second grade, we moved to New Hampshire. So I spent like 2.5 years in New Hampshire. And then in fifth grade, I moved to Texas.
Yes.
I moved to Dallas. Grew up in a northern suburb of Dallas. Went to school at Texas A&M. Was part of a improv troupe. So I always did, like, I started doing theater in eighth grade.
In college? Oh, in eighth
Oh,
grade.
No,
nice.
in
Okay.
eighth grade. Like
Okay.
I always, like as a little kid, I was like, I'm Luke Skywalker.
Got
I
it.
at one point took my aunt's leather belt because I was Indiana Jones.
Nice.
Were you whipping people?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
whipping people with it.
No, what happened is I whipped a tree and it wrapped around and I couldn't get it off.
Oh,
Oh.
And I just went inside because I was in 1981. I was 8.
Yeah.
And I
You had
just
other
went
things to
inside and
do.
forgot about it. I had other things to do. I had Star Wars figures to play with.
right.
And the next day, the belt was gone.
Oh.
Oh, that's funny.
And my aunt was so mad because at the time she was like 22.
It was her
Oh,
favorite belt.
she held that grudge for 4 months.
Yeah, no, she held it for a while. So anyway, I ended up in Texas doing theater. Started a improv troupe in college.
Oh, you started an improv troupe yourself.
No.
You started in one.
Oh, you started in one.
Thanks, Denise.
Okay.
Thanks. Appreciate
Go,
that.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
You're
All
such an underachiever.
Way to bring the ego down. All right. Cool. Thanks. All right.
Sorry, go ahead. You were in one.
No,
Go ahead.
a bunch of friends of mine who you guys all know.
Yeah.
We co-founded an improv troupe that is still going on to this day.
At Texas A&M.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we were just so my wife Missy works in higher education. She's a success coach for ACC, and we were just at A&M for a conference, like one of her professional
Yeah. Uh-huh.
conferences. And we brought Owen, and we were just walking around what's known as the Memorial Student Center, the MSC, which is
Okay.
sort of like the main like hub.
It's like the quad that
Yeah,
people
it's
have
like the
on
quad.
their campuses.
Yes.
Got it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So we're walking, and every group has something up. Like there's trifold
Yeah.
Oh,
little
yeah.
things everywhere, and there's a thing for Freudian Slip has a show tonight. I was like, oh, hey,
Aw.
yeah, I co-founded that, and Owen
That's
lost his mind.
Owen's your son.
Owen,
so
your-
Owen's your
your
Owen
youngest
is,
son.
my
Yeah.
youngest son.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and
correct.
he was like, "Wow, Dad."
and the name of the improv troupe is Freudian Slip.
Freudian Slip.
I love it.
We used to sell out a 350-seat theater 8 times a semester.
Nice.
Jimmy,
That's really good.
that's awesome.
And they are still going on, and I can't support them enough. I'm so proud to have been a part of that. And that then is the reason I ended up in Chicago,
Okay.
because during one spring break, we discovered Improv Olympic, or I'm sorry, I can't say that. It's now called IO. And we rented 3 cars, and 9 of us shoved ourselves into the cars and drove to Chicago.
No, I was to say, is Improv Olympic a place or a festival?
It's like a festival or
No,
a competition type thing.
it's an improv. So it's like the Groundlings.
Oh, okay. Well, anybody who doesn't know the Groundlings in Los Angeles, it's a improv group that's very well known in LA. Like really big names have come out of the Groundlings,
Yeah.
like Amy Poehler.
Will Ferrell,
Oh, yeah.
John Ritter, Lisa Kudrow, John Lovitz.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Those
for
are
anyone
all Jimmy Fallon. Those
Yeah,
are all
that's-
people who came out of the Groundlings.
in Los Angeles, so
Yep.
the Improv Olympic, whatever it's IO,
IO.
that is their theater group people that put on shows weekly, because that's what the Groundlings is in Los Angeles. They put on shows weekly.
Correct. So,
Okay.
so the Groundlings, like their Sunday show was definitely sketch. So Melissa McCarthy came out of Groundlings, like
Mhm.
amazing people, and their goal was sketch, where IO was strictly improvisation, but it was founded by one of the early members of Second City. So in Chicago, IO was the way to get to Second City,
Absolutely.
and
Got
Second City is where Bill Murray,
Yeah.
Tim Meadows, Colbert, Steve Carell, like, so for SNL you have the Groundlings and Second City,
Yeah.
or
It's the
stand-ups.
pinnacle. Right.
Yes. So those are the 3 places where all those people come from. So initially, as a young man, I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. So my path was to go to Chicago, because we went there in college, and I really liked the city. I really liked what we did. And then, so I went, I think this question started as, how did you who are
Get
you?
into action.
And
It's
45
okay.
minutes later,
No,
I'm
we're
not
get-
even into
no.
college.
No, it's okay. It's
no,
okay.
you're in
So
college.
you're in
We're not
college.
going back to
No, we're
Texas
not.
A&M from here,
no,
bro.
we're in college.
We're
Okay,
going
so
back to A&M.
it's
The
fine.
improv group that I was a part of at A&M went
Mhm.
to Waco, Texas. Yes, that Waco.
Before
Oh.
Chip and Joanna were
Before
there.
it was that Waco.
Right.
The
because
Davidian
the-
Waco. Yeah.
Yes.
He's talking Chip and Joanna. I'm saying Davidian. I know where
Yeah.
Jimmy's coming
You went
from.
to the Davidian.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
The Second City Touring Company came through Waco, Texas. And
Ah,
we were like, we're going to go see that because Waco was a 45-minute drive
Yeah.
from A&M, maybe an hour. So
Right.
we all drove up. We bought tickets. We're in this amazing old, like 1920s theater
Mhm.
in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
There's maybe 15 people in the audience, and we're 8 of them.
Wow.
way.
Okay.
And that Tourco had Polar, Faye.
Mhm.
When they're, gosh, I was 19, 20. They must have been 24, 25.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Before anyone's famous at all.
Mhm.
Right.
And we just hang out after the show because we want to meet them because
You got to be
we
kidding.
recognize.
Holy
And
cow.
they come out the backstage door and they're like, who are these idiots?
Right.
Because it's a bunch of like schlubby
Yeah.
90s college kids. We're all wearing flannel.
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
of course.
Yeah,
Everyone's got on baseball hats backwards. It's
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
so
nightmare.
it's Texas meets grunge. I
Yeah,
get it.
it's like a bad Goo Goo Dolls video. We like all say our goodbyes and whatever, and we're like everybody's hungry. We're like, where are we gonna go? And at that in early 90s in Waco, the only place to go was Chili's.
Oh.
Whew.
So we all head to Chili's. Lo and behold, who is there? Amy Poehler, Tina Fey.
Nice.
And we start up everybody's talking to them, they're talking to us, and they're like, hey, here's Sharna Halpern's number in Chicago. If you guys want to really do this,
right.
call her.
Mm.
4 months later, we rented a bunch of cars, we drove up to Chicago, did a 3-day workshop with Sharna and Del Close, and that set the tone. Like that's how I ended up in Chicago a few years later. And in Chicago is where I got my SAG card and,
Represent.
did a ton of like really bad commercials.
Did you ever make it to Second City? Tell me what happened. Oh, what?
I auditioned 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And the joke with Second City was I didn't get hired, but my girlfriend did.
What?
Oh, it wasn't my girlfriend. I was married. It wasn't my girlfriend, but that was a big joke was I auditioned at Second City and my girlfriend got the job because she was.
Oh, I get
Ah.
it. That's the punchline.
Oh,
That
okay,
was the
okay.
punchline. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So,
sorry.
all right. So you're in Chicago. You're trying to get in Second City. 3 auditions. You're like, okay, I think I'm going to try something different. You decide Los Angeles. What made you decide LA and not New York? Because
I'm from New York. I know.
yeah. So why not New York? I'm just curious.
One name, and I'm going to drop it. Eric Stone Street
Oh,
from
okay.
Modern Family.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He
What
and I
about him?
started. He and I started at Improv Olympic together at the same time, and we
Oh.
rose through the ranks.
Okay.
And he had started booking stuff in Chicago like crazy. So I did a ton of shows with him. I did a ton of improv shows with him. We were really good friends at the time. And he just one day was like, I'm moving to LA. And he
Wow.
left. And like 3 months later, he was like, you got to get here. You have to come to Los Angeles. And we were like, all right.
He wasn't Eric Stone Street Modern Family yet. He was just like
No,
auditioning.
he was a dude doing commercials.
Okay, so you get to LA. You're auditioning. Now, people think when you come to LA, boom, right away, you're a big time actor. Like they don't realize there are 10,000 people ahead of you
Right.
and you're all fighting for
It's a frenzy, yeah.
a little part in a commercial, like a broccoli commercial, a Band-Aid commercial. Like what was your big commercial hit for you? Because usually people have one. And how long
Sure.
did it take?
I was actually very, very lucky. Eric Stone Street was
Mhm.
already a friend, and he had hit the town running. He had been there for a few months. He gave me a bunch of people to call.
Sure.
Who are these people? Like casting
like-
agents? What are they?
Commercial agents.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I called like 4 of them, and he was like, just tell all of them that the other people that they compete with want you. Because in LA, you could have a commercial agent and then
Yep.
what was known as a theatrical agent.
Oh,
So
Right.
the commercial people just got you commercials, and you could have an entirely separate agency that just got you TV and film work. And it
got it.
was
Right.
much easier to get a commercial agent. And he helped me, and I used his advice and was like, these people are interested in me. And totally lying. No one was interested in me. And this relatively large agency at the time signed me. So I think within 4 months, I booked a national commercial.
Okay, Jimmy, that's only 4 months in LA. I don't think people realize how long do you normally have to be in LA to book a national commercial
Yeah, I was going to say, do
generally?
you feel
Now,
like
I have no clue.
But back then, what was it, a year and a
Probably a
half?
year and a half.
And when you say a national commercial, we're talking big names like Anheuser-Busch, or we're talking
Staples.
like, oh,
Staples?
yes,
Nice.
A company that no one under the age of 40 knows who we're talking about.
Right.
Wow. Okay, so that was your first big hit.
That was my first big hit. And after that, I just started booking commercials. Like, that was my bread and butter. Also, at the time, commercials were not flooded with celebrities.
Right.
Oh, good point, Jimmy. Okay.
So that was, that's called stunt casting, or was, and it was very rare. Like, a TV star would never deign to
Yeah.
go do a commercial back
I
then.
remember there was a time where it was just seen
wow.
as beneath them.
Absolutely. It was like, film actors don't do TV,
That's true.
TV actors don't do commercials,
That is
Yeah.
true.
commercial actors don't do soap operas. Just kidding.
So you had your first big commercial success with Staples, and then you had even a bigger one. And that's where people would stop you and say, "Hey," we'd be out at a bar and people would say, "You look familiar." And
Yeah.
I'd be like, "What?" Yeah. What commercial was that? We know what commercial that is.
One, it was a commercial that never ever aired. It was for a director's reel.
Yep.
So, James, you are familiar with this. A director back then would
Yeah.
get together with a production company, and they would shoot a bunch of what's known as spec spots.
Yep.
So, never contracted by the company. They would just pick a few products that they liked and say, hey, here's an idea I have for this. And the production company would put money into them in the hopes that eventually that director would get hired and the production
Yep.
company would come along with him.
Yeah.
So it was a Nutri-Grain commercial.
It was so funny.
I feel great.
Yep.
And it was produced, written, conceived by someone named Justin Reardon. He won a Clio because he came up with a waza.
Oh, got it.
He was also a Chicago guy. But he had come up with that ad campaign, and he was looking to branch out into directing.
What brand was that for?
Nutri-Grain.
Well, that was Budweiser.
What's up?
What's
Was
up was
Budweiser.
Budweiser,
That's
yeah.
right. I was
Yeah.
like, I knew it was a beer. I wanted to say
Yeah.
Coors.
And we're talking 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just came up with this idea for this potential Nutri-Grain spot, and it is wacky. It is over the top, which is totally my wheelhouse.
Okay, so can we find
go
this
ahead.
on YouTube? It's on YouTube, right? We can do like
Yes,
James
you can
Leary
look up-
Nutri-Grain.
You can look up I Feel Great Nutri-Grain. It's been viewed like probably 20 million times.
We will put the link in
Yeah,
our liner
we will.
notes.
At the time, so when I say I was auditioning, back then I was auditioning 15 times a week, which
Mhm.
was incredible. And
Mhm.
90% of the time, here's what I'd hear. Hey, that was really good. Could you bring it down? Just bring it. Just your eyes. They're really, could you stop? Be like, no, this is,
Your eyes do get really big
these are my
when
eyes.
you're
Like,
excited.
I've underplayed this entire audition. What do you mean, bring it down?
My eyes are almost closed.
Like I look like French Stewart. Like, I don't know what's happening. And that was the first time someone went, no, give me more.
Oh, okay.
Give me, like, what
More
you're doing.
eyes. More eyes.
More. Give me more. And that's one of the best things I've ever done. I love that spot.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. It was with a great comedian named Joe Bill and Precious Chung. Tommy
Okay.
Chong's
Oh,
stepdaughter.
yes. Yes. Okay. Okay.
She's the one who I go up to and go, "You want to have babies?" And she's like, "Yeah, 1,000,000 of them. Babies everywhere." So that happened, and right at that same time is also when I got on the cult TV show.
Now, for everyone listening, the actor strike is still happening. So we have to be
Correct.
very careful about how we say it because we can't talk about striked work. So you worked on a show, and I can say this, Buffy. I cannot say anything more about it.
Correct.
We're going to say it right now. It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Right at that same time is when I got on Buffy.
Okay, we need to hear about this because this is very hard. And again, for listeners who don't know anything about acting or Los Angeles, to get on a hit show is so difficult, and to have a reoccurring role, oh my gosh, like it is unbelievable.
When I got to Los Angeles, it was one of the five shows I wanted to work on. It was like number 2, and it's the only one I got to work on. And I got it because I did a workshop with someone who was the associate casting director for the show. And so she had seen me do a workshop where I actually played Spike. I did my British accent, and she called me right, like I didn't have to do a like I went right to producers.
Wow.
And having known the show, when I read the first script, I was like, I know how I'm doing this. Because I knew the show, I was a fan of the show, and I was like, wow, demons aren't demons. Demons are people. And I just went, I'm just going to be me.
Oh, that's fantastic. So that was how you approached it.
That's how I approached it. And I went, I'm going to try to hit, it was 5 lines. The initial character didn't even have a name. It was just called the Loose-Skinned Demon. And I went in, and it was 5 lines, and it was just the producers.
Okay.
And I just went, you know what? I'm going to try to play every line for as many laughs as I can get.
Wow. And you only had 5 to work with. That's pretty incredible.
You know, when you're this good.
It's so true. It's so true. It's so true.
And because it was for producers, it was a room. I don't do well one-on-one. Like, if it's just a casting person and me, 80% of the time, I'm not getting the job. You put 4 people there, 5 people, I know how to work that from my improv background. Like, I know how to
You know how to feed off a crowd. Right.
Right. And I went in, I read the lines, they laughed. Every time they laughed, it fed into the thing. I got the job. And I sat for a head cast. I sat for like all kinds of crazy makeup stuff. Full makeup, by the way. Like,
how long does that take? If anybody has ever seen the episode, they know you are really like very much.
They're not going to see you on the street and know that you're.
No. How long did makeup take?
So it is. It's like what they call the cowl, which comes from here back.
Yep.
Then an entire face piece. So every inch of it is glued to my face. Yeah. And then they put the ears on. And then I had these gigantic gloves. The main makeup took 2.5 hours.
But you had to have been loving it.
I was loving every second.
I can't believe this.
Are you kidding me?
You had to be. You had
You're
to
a sci-fi fan.
You watch the show.
You're a fan of the show.
I'm a fan of the show.
It's a comedy role.
Yeah.
And here you are getting prosthetics for the first time in your career.
Right. And the dude putting on my prosthetics had worked with Robin Williams. But he was a great guy. And I'm just listening to him tell stories.
Right.
Wow.
Of like, one, how amazing Robin Williams was. He worked on Bicentennial Man.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Which is a movie that Robin Williams gets a ton of makeup. And he was like, Robin would come in, be there before everyone at 4:30 in the morning, get his whole makeup, wrap. So all his coverage was done. He would wrap, spend 45 minutes getting his makeup off, and then go back to do the off-camera work for all the other actors.
Wow. Oh, he was a true professional. Like that was.
So like when you're an actor, you have your on camera and someone is off camera giving you your lines.
Right.
And sometimes that can be the other actor and sometimes it's a script supervisor.
Right.
For him, it was Robin Williams.
Do his entire day and then come back to do all his lines that are off camera just so the other actor looks good. I was like, that's
That's a pro.
That's who I want to be.
Aw.
Anyway, sorry, I got off on a tangent.
No,
So
it's
no,
great
I
info.
did that day. And I ended up striking up a friendship with James Marsters. And at the end of the day, Marsters is like, and I'm still in makeup. He's like, "Hey man, see you again." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You're funny. You'll be back." I was like,
Oh,
"What?
nice.
No,
Oh.
I'm not. What do you get out of here? I'm all right. Okay, you say that to everybody. You're a good dude. I get it. All right, I'm
Right,
leaving."
right. Yeah, thanks for the props.
6 weeks later, I get a phone call from my agent. They say, "Buffy wants you back."
Nice.
Oh.
Wait, what? And this time it was shooting for an entire week with the majority of the rest of the cast. And then they just kept like bringing me back. So in that first season, I think I did 6 episodes. And in the next season, I did 2. So I only did 8 episodes of the original show.
So you do your 8 episodes, and we're now, let's cut to where we are. How many years later are we from your last episode you did with Buffy? Was that
20
18 years ago? Okay,
No,
so
Yeah.
20
the
years
last
ago.
episode of Buffy was in 2003. I think my last episode, I think I shot in 2003.
Okay. Now, anyone who knows anything about sci-fi knows that there's all these conventions
Yeah.
where people from different shows will come and sign autographs. You rode that gravy train for many, many years.
Comic-Cons, all those,
Yes,
right?
you did all those.
So yes, I started doing cons. I had been introduced to that through James Marsters,
Mhm.
who was doing them, and I was like, "Yeah, that sounds great."
Yeah.
My very first Comic-Con ever was, I believe it was 2002 San Diego Comic-Con.
That's
big
like the
one.
biggest one.
The big kahuna.
I have often said it's like losing your virginity to a porn star.
What does that? What?
No, so that was my first Comic-Con ever.
Were
Yeah.
you
And
like dying?
I had done the first season. I had not done any episodes for the second season. So this was like, I think July between the 2 seasons, and
Yeah.
go down to San Diego, and it's a totally different beast. And like, you get a table and that's it. They don't pay for anything. It's whatever. I printed up a bunch of photos. I had a photo of James Marsters and I in character standing together.
Yeah.
And he was kind enough. He signed 500 photos
For you,
Wow.
for your table.
for me, for my table.
Oh, wow.
So that I could then take them and sell them for like twice as much as my other photos. Because he had signed them.
Because he signed them.
He's a
So
really
he
nice
was-
guy.
He's an amazing man.
Wow.
He's very kind, very generous, incredibly talented. So
Okay, so you
support
go to your
him.
first Comic-Con.
Yes, so I go to my first Comic-Con.
Wait, I have
Is
to
it
ask
just
you.
your
Suddenly-
table? Or are there other
I'm at a
characters with
table
you?
surrounded by people I grew up watching. Like,
Oh,
there's Battlestar Galactica people, there's Buck Rogers
Nice.
people, there's Beastmaster people, there's people from Flash Gordon. Like, Sam Jones is like a foot away from me. I'm like, that's freaking Flash Gordon.
that's
I'm gonna go
awesome.
say hi. So yes, I am freaking out the entire time. I'm nerding out. It's like Lou Ferrigno.
Oh,
My
that's awesome.
Gen X young child head is exploding.
Uh-huh.
And then people are coming to get an autograph.
Was there ever a moment where you thought, I'm not going to sell these photos?
Yeah,
who's
the second I sat down, I was like, we just wasted a ton of money. This is stupid. I don't know what we just did. I went and got a banner printed at like that print place right
yeah,
at Lancashire,
Kinko's.
Vineland.
yes,
No, right across the street from the Odyssey Video, next to the H Salt Fish and Chips, was a printing place.
Yeah, that's where we had our wedding.
Invitations
We had our
made,
wedding
yeah.
invitations
Uh-huh.
produced there.
Yeah. What did the banner say?
I think it just said it had one horrible picture of me that I'd taken on set, and then my headshot, and it said, I think it said, Clem, the loose-skinned demon from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, James C. Leary. And
Very
in
creative.
horrible font. Like, everything was terrible. I think Buffy was in
Very
red,
Right.
and it cost like $60. I was like, oh.
That's a lot of money back then. Are
Oh,
you kidding?
Yeah.
And I put the thing up behind me, and I sit down and I take out like 4 of my headshots because that's all I had, and
Uh-huh.
1 photo of me on set, and then the pictures with James.
Uh-huh.
And I think at one point I actually took the picture with James, took tape, and put it up on my banner.
Of course. You got to show people what they're getting when they step up.
And then I think I was there for maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes, and people started to come up.
That's
And the
awesome.
first time someone was like, "Yeah, I'll take your picture," I was like, "Wait, what? Wait a second.
You know who I am, right?
You're
You
going to
know
give me money. Wait, are you sure?" Like, Mark Singer's right there. Beastmaster, right there.
Yeah.
You don't, because I'll pay
Huh?
money for him. And they're like, "No, we loved you on the show." And that just started like the whole day. And then for the next decade, I
Yeah.
did nonstop. I think one year I did 14 conventions.
Wow.
1 year you did 14 conventions.
Yeah, it
Holy
was like the
moly.
first. It was right after San Diego. It was right when the show was really, really hot, and it was just ending. And I was working with the same person who repped James Marsters, and they sold us as a pair.
Ooh.
So
Wow.
I did 14 conventions in 12 months.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So how is that like? So they just, it has, the producers of the show have nothing to do with you showing up there.
No, they didn't used to. I think now they do.
I think they do now too, especially
Now
because they want you on
absolutely.
panels
I was just
and all
at a
that.
con.
Yeah.
I was just in New York City, and Ewan McGregor was there.
Right.
You wouldn't have caught Ewan McGregor dead
Yeah.
at a convention in 2002.
He was a serious actor at one point,
He
but
still
now
is,
he's sold
babe.
out.
He still is.
Now all the agencies are involved. Back then, it was like you had your TV agent, and they were like, "Oh, you're going to do cons?
Your career's over, right? Like that's what
Okay."
I
I mean, if you want to be there with the washed ups,
Yeah, they
go
just
right
thought you were
ahead.
slumming, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like,
Right.
"Do you know how much money I make?"
Right.
Okay, so
I'm pretty sure you don't, because if you did, you'd want a piece of it.
I know, right? Wouldn't that
You're
be
right.
Which is
answer
now
had
what
no idea.
what happens.
Yeah,
Anyway,
all
sorry.
the agencies are
No,
inside
that's
baseball.
okay. No. It's true. You're absolutely right. Agents had no idea how much money you were getting. I mean, just figure it out. If like
Well,
you're
you're
selling,
talking about. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, if you're selling a photo, I'm guessing at $20, $25 a photo, and you have 500. Okay, that's
Yeah,
just
do the math.
500 is a small number because you're there all weekend.
Do you want to know what they go for now?
What?
120.
120.
Not me. Not me. I don't charge that.
Right.
I was just at New York City Comic Con, and some of the top tier celebrities were charging $120 for a photograph.
Wow.
And if you wanted to get a photo op with them, because that's another way,
How
that
much?
that was $270 for Chris Evans.
Holy cow.
Oh,
Wow.
that's Chris Evans though. I would
People-
pay $270.
Yeah, so
I would
would
pay
I.
$270.
You paid $270 to get a picture with
Uh-huh,
Captain
I'm-
America.
Hell yeah.
So
yeah.
his photo apps sold out. So there were no more, like, he didn't have enough time to like
I believe
stand
it.
there all day. So they sold out.
I believe
Right.
it.
People were coming up to other people in line going, "Hey, I know you have a photo op. I will pay you the price of the photo op if you will stand on one side, and I can just sneak in and stand on the other side. And when they give you the digital picture, just cut me out.
Are you
Oh, my
serious?
You send me the digital photo that you could pay $12 extra for,
Right.
and we'll cut each other out just because I can't get one."
So we're cut to 20 years you've been doing cons here and there. Okay. Like
Yep.
you did move from Los Angeles
Yes,
to
so-
back
to
to
Texas,
Texas.
yeah, for
So now,
personal
Moved
reasons
from
and
Los
all that.
Angeles to Austin, Texas.
yes. So now you're
And-
currently in Austin and you've done a little bit of stage work, but you pretty much are no longer
Right,
auditioning or anything like
I'm
that.
no longer in the biz. I don't even though I support, I let my SAG membership lapse.
Mhm.
So I don't do anything anymore.
Okay.
That's not true, though.
That is not
That
true.
That is not
Okay.
true.
So,
Let's get into this.
So in 2022, you get a phone call.
I got I believe it was an email and then a phone call. I got a phone call from Chris Golden, who is one of the co-writers of Slayers, a Buffyverse story, available on Audible.
It's also important to know for everybody listening, we have so many friends in the industry that this actual Audible podcast and their contract with everybody on the show is not covered under the SAG contract.
Correct.
There are no scabs on Skip
No,
Town
there
All
are
Stars.
no scabs. Everything SAG has been behind. Every bit of publicity we've done, they have given us a waiver. It was also not considered struck work because Audible is not one of the companies that is being struck. So we are all safe there. Chris never did anything for the show, but Chris was one of the first writers, because Chris is a writer,
Okay.
who did some of the first serialized novels.
Oh, like a
Based
book
on the
writer.
show.
He's a book writer.
Yes, so
Got
he is a full-fledged book writer. He knows Stephen King
Wow.
Whoa.
like well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So Chris, he knows Neil Gaiman.
Wow.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
So
He's like an
Okay.
author's author.
Chris is up there with like the bigwigs. Like he's
Okay.
up there with these people. He does mostly he started doing he started out doing horror. That's how he kind of got into the Buffy world. But at the time, I think 20th Century Fox approached him to do a spin-off novel, and he threw himself into it. He did what they used to call Watcher's Guides.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So he did, I think,
Familiar.
like 4 of those, and specifically he did like the 20th anniversary Watcher's Guide specifically.
And Watcher's Guides, just explain real quick. Watcher's Guides are basically, they help you with the lore of the show. They help you with characters or maybe relationships that had happened way back in the past.
For Buffy.
Right.
Maybe
We're talking
things
just
that
for
had
Buffy.
never been
Yes,
shown
but
before.
For other shows, they do it too. Supernatural
Oh.
has one, a bunch
Game
of
of
other
Thrones,
shows.
all that.
Okay. Okay.
It's kind of like a cheat book for video games when they had those.
Wait, is it a prequel or is it just a cheat sheet?
Well, no,
No.
Chris did different things. So when he started, he did spin-off novels. So he would, they would pitch him an idea and he'd be like, great, all right. And then he would write a spin-off
Like
novel.
Star Wars does a bunch of that now.
Right. And then the Watcher's Guides were like very specific, here's the show in a nutshell.
Oh,
Right.
okay. So it's like Cliff Notes, like
So it
that.
helped you if
Okay,
they have
yeah.
multiple characters,
Got it.
multiple story arcs.
Got
It
it.
helps you track
Right.
everybody.
He would
and-
interview
and-
actors. He would talk to the
Oh.
writers. He would talk to producers. So Chris has been very much involved in this world for a very long time.
Mhm.
And through doing conventions and stuff, he met Amber Benson. And she played Tara on the show.
Yes.
Fan favorite character, Willow's girlfriend, one of the first openly gay characters on network television.
Okay.
Really groundbreaking stuff. And she is also a writer. She's a director, she's a producer, but she is also a writer. And they had actually worked on something together like 20 years ago. So when this Chris, I believe, was pitching Audible ideas, and they were talking to him and said, hey, we have a bunch of these projects. Which one would you be interested in? And he was like, Buffy. He was like, yeah, I'll take that one.
Yeah.
And then he went to Amber and trying to, without getting too into the weeds, reclaim the show.
Got it.
Okay.
Just to give it back to the fans, because the show came under some fire over the last few years, and some of the actresses mostly came out and said that they worked under some abusive circumstances.
Mhm.
Yes.
We all know that, like people who are
Right.
even remotely in entertainment or follow entertainment,
Right.
and that is like widely publicized.
Right. And so given this opportunity, they both said, well, we like the fan base for this show, I would liken it to Star Wars, to Star Trek, one of those few shows that has managed to keep a fan base over several generations at this point.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me. Like I'll sometimes meet 13, 14-year-old girls or boys or anyone or however, who come up and is like, hey, I love this show. I'm like, how do you love the show? You
I
weren't even
know.
born yet.
I know.
And they're like, no, it was my mom's favorite show. And then when I
Uh-huh.
turned 13, she started showing it to me. And then I showed it to all my friends. And now we've rewatched it 9 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a show that keeps continuing to come down generations and still means something to people.
Right.
And I think Chris and Amber really wanted to continue that because there are still stories to tell, and I think what Slayers did really well was reclaim, especially for certain actors and actresses, reclaim their power, um, and give something new in a way that we can't do on film.
Right.
James,
Right.
I sat with James 2 weekends ago, and he's like, I initially told the producers, you got about 7 years. Like, I'll be a vampire for about 7 years. And that
Okay.
was when he was in his mid 30s.
Oh
He's
God.
61.
Right.
But audio wise, doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Right.
So let's talk
Right.
a little bit about this project. So you get a call from Chris and he says,
Right.
I have an idea for an Audible, an original,
Yep.
the original story idea in the Buffy verse world. And
Right.
it's going to be, you finish that sentence, Jimmy.
It's gonna be about some new Slayers. Like, we're gonna continue the story 10 years after the original show ended, but
Right.
we're gonna do a multiverse
Oh,
so that we can play with characters who are dead, who don't exist anymore. We can really just, it's a jumping off point for us.
got
And I
it.
was like, great, that sounds awesome. I'll be in one or two. And he's like, okay. And like,
Well, I mean, not to
yeah,
tip it off too much. Within 5 minutes of the first
yeah.
episode, we can prominently hear our buddy's voice
Yeah.
yeah.
throughout.
So like 8 months later, I get another email, and I talk, and they're like, "No, you're a big part of this." I'm like,
Yeah.
whatever. And then it goes to recording, and I'm like, wait, you're gonna wait, you're flying me to Los Angeles to wait. We're doing this how? So I get the scripts. There's 9 of them, so I think it's roughly about 8 hours.
It is. It's 8 hours.
Um,
Yep.
and I get the scripts, and I just start reading them, and I'm no longer an ancillary character.
No, you
You
are
are
I am
not.
now one of the leads. I'm a Scooby Gang. I'm part of the crew,
You are.
and I couldn't be, because I have known Chris and Amber for 20 plus years, and we have done conventions together. We have hung out together. We
Right.
have joked together. We have done everything together. They knew how to write for the character, and they
Yeah.
gave me so much amazing stuff to do. And they went, hey, this is Spike's best buddy. And they just ran with it. And I
Yeah.
was so lucky to just, like, I cannot.
Oh, Jimmy. I
think
know.
it's great.
It is amazing.
I can't believe that I'm
Yeah.
still here. And I'm
Aw.
so very thankful.
So you go out there. Did you have any clue, Jimmy, the magnitude of this project? Because you
No, I
just
had
came
no
back.
idea.
You just
I
thought you
mean-
were going to be in a little recording studio, didn't you?
I did a little bit. So my paycheck was going to be.
Right. Right. I was
like,
going to
wait,
say there
wait,
was an
what?
offer on the table. Yeah.
Wait, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, are you sure this isn't meant for the other James? You're sure
Right.
this email is not meant, this contract is not for the other guy?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not? Yes, I will. So no, we go out to Los Angeles of March this last year. We recorded in the same place where they record Bob's Burgers,
Yeah.
Nice.
just down from the Ralphs we were talking about
Uh-huh.
4 hours ago. We show up, and the way they've set it up is that we are not. So normally when you do voiceover, say for something like this or a video game, you're in a booth, you're in a little kind of like this, you're in a teeny tiny thing, and it's just you. You're just reading with, say, the casting director or the director or whoever. It's just you reading lines, which
Yeah.
is great. It's how it normally works. For this, they got everyone together at one time.
Yeah, if you listen to the Audible, it feels, Jimmy, like I wanted to ask you, were you all in a room together?
Yes.
Because as the listener, you feel like you are in the room with everybody. So this totally makes sense.
Well, that's also due to a very proprietary technology that literally puts you in the middle. If you listen on surround sound or you have headphones that have surround
Yep.
sound,
Yeah.
Yep.
the action happens around you, and that's proprietary technology for very
Oh.
specifically this Audible series.
Yeah, and it's pretty badass, I must say, because when I first started listening to it, I was in the garage and it was just sort of like a wall mount speaker that's attached to, that I could, a Bluetooth speaker. When I listened to the second episode in my headphones, dramatically different experience.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. So the people at Wayland Productions, Casey Wayland is the third co-director. So
Mhm.
Amber, Chris, and Casey directed the whole thing.
And so you're all in a room together.
Yeah, we're all in this giant studio. Everyone's got their little music stand, like
Yep.
all like in high school with their
Yeah.
script
Yeah.
and a microphone, and you got headphones, and everyone's isolated. Although we're not, like everyone has their own mic and own headphones, but we're all just in a circle.
Oh, you guys were all in there like we are the world.
Yes, totally. And so we're all able to play off each other.
And you're moving your arms and you're doing all this.
Everyone's
Yeah.
doing, especially when you have to do a fight scene, you're like,
Yeah.
which is one, so much fun because you can just go nuts. Like everyone's egos are just erased because you're not on camera.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
And you understand that what you have to give is all through your voice. And the
Right.
more you can put into that, the better it's going to be. And people just went crazy.
Yeah.
And I got to work with people I never worked with.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to work with the incomparable Anthony Stewart Head, and they piped him in from England.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
But give us a list real quick. Like, rattle off the list of people who are included in the project.
Charisma Carpenter, who played Cordelia.
Okay.
She still plays Cordelia, but now in an alternate universe, she is the Slayer.
Okay.
Anthony Stewart Head, who played Giles, James Marsters, who is Spike, Emma Caulfield Ford, who was Anya or Anyanka. She played a
Mhm.
person and a demon. We also have, who else? Danny Strong, myself, and then the newcomer is Leia DeLeon, I'm going to say it wrong, Leia DeLeon Hayes,
Mhm.
and she's the new addition. She's 20
She's
years
the
old.
rookie Slayer.
She's the
right?
rookie Slayer. She's the brand new rookie Slayer.
Yeah.
And she is friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good.
So
For
again,
such a young girl to be a young
she's
actor.
20. She is on the TV show The Equalizer.
Okay.
She
Mhm.
plays
All right.
Queen Latifah's daughter.
All right.
She is also a BAFTA award-winning voiceover actor for the latest God of War video game.
Holy cow.
So
Wow.
the week we're in LA, we're like, who's this new kid going to be? James
Right,
and I are
right.
in the studio the first day. We're like,
All you old crusty bastards in there.
Look at us, gray hair, like whatever. In walks this 20-year-old kid. And we're like, all right, whatever. Her first line. She delivers her first line, and I watched him. Like, we're right next to each other, and both of us go, huh? Oh, crap. Okay.
The kid's got it. We got to up our game
where's
here.
my highlighter? All right. Because she just killed it so hard, and she
Agreed.
brought everyone else's
It's a
game
great
up.
performance.
She is fantastic. She's also a delight of a human being.
That's great.
Aw, that is that's so nice to hear. So you had a very good week it was like a reunion.
It was a
reunion.
total reunion. And again, some people that I've known over the years, but never worked with, and getting to work with some of these people was just, it was so much fun. It was like every day wasn't work. It was, I'm going to go have fun today.
Right.
Yes. So, okay, you tell us the name of the show,
Sure.
where you can find it, all of that. So
Sure.
tell us the name of this.
It is called
show.
Slayers, a Buffyverse story, and it is available on Audible, exclusively on Audible, audible.com.
And for those of you who aren't aware, it is a podcast.
It's so
It's
a podcast.
It is an immersive, experiential story, a way of telling the story
through an audio vehicle.
Medium.
Yes,
Medium.
audio.
Yeah.
Thank you. Medium. Yes.
Yeah.
So it is strictly audio, but it is it's not just someone reading a book. It
Oh, no,
is,
no, no, no. It
yeah,
is not that. No, it's not
Yeah.
an audiobook, because an audiobook is a narrator reading a book. No, this is an interactive experience. So when you're listening to it, you feel like you're sitting in the middle of the action.
Yeah.
So if
Right.
you're driving in your car, you literally don't want this story to stop. You don't want to get to your destination because you're like, wait, they're
Yeah.
they're in a bar fight right now. I got to hear this out.
And there's 9 episodes, I think, for like 8 hours. We're still beating Stephen King, I think.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Well, I've listened to similar shows or endeavors from other studios on other platforms, and I must say, I mean, just in terms of quality and the oomph that you guys have put
yes.
into this thing,
No,
it's
Audible put
it's a
everything.
superior product.
Yeah,
It is a superior
Audible
product.
really, like, I can't stress enough how amazing Audible was bringing us into New York City. Like, Audible has put everything into this. And
Yeah.
when I say everything, I mean everything. And Wayland Productions really killed it with the production.
Oh,
The
it's a
sound effects,
beautiful.
also all the other actors, like not just the main characters, but
Yeah.
everyone. And a little bit of information: the monkey,
Yeah.
the little monkey character,
Mhm.
that's one of the co-directors.
Oh, no way,
That's
really?
Casey. He did the
Oh,
Oh,
monkey.
okay.
that's fantastic.
Okay.
Okay. I have to tell you, listening to it, I did want to say everyone's voice is beautiful and so distinct on each word. Even like when the Slayers are talking and you could feel the venom in their voice. I mean, just being you're in it. You're
Oh,
in it
Juliet
as a
Landau.
listener.
I forgot to mention Juliet Landau before. I can't believe I forgot her. She's friggin' Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Like, she is so unbelievably good in this. It's like every word she utters, it's like,
Yes.
Yeah.
oh my God.
Perfection. I was
Yeah.
listening and I was saying, okay, real quick. Did you guys have to take any takes? Was there like where you would stop and say, "Oh,
Yeah.
I need to redo that"? Okay.
Absolutely, of course. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like anything else you do. Like, sometimes you flub a line, or sometimes they want a different, like, the directors would be like, that was great. Give me one like this, or give me one like that, or do this.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
But
Okay.
So
also
you're still being
actors.
directed.
Correct. Yes. So
Yeah.
Chris, Amber, and KC directed the whole thing. So they would be like, that was great, or give us a slight, like, hit, like, just, a little tweak here, there. But also, as actors, we all had the freedom to be like, you know what? I didn't like that. Can I do one more?
Oh, okay.
And they
Okay.
were like,
Great.
Studio's
terabyte
paid for. Let's do it.
terabytes don't cost money.
That's right. They
It's
really
it's not
don't.
like film anymore. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
do whatever you want.
Especially
We don't
audio,
care.
it just doesn't
Yeah.
take up nearly as much space as video. So,
Yes.
okay, so this endeavor was, I mean, obviously you hadn't worked in this medium before. One thing that we left out in your career path when you said you moved back to Texas was you've also done an incredible amount of writing for video games.
Sure.
You've also done so. Just to sort of round out your story. In a nutshell, tell me how it's been to jump from acting to this to that over the years.
I don't know if I have undiagnosed ADHD. I'm not sure.
Uh-huh.
I've never been one to sit still, and I
Right.
always want what's next. So while in Los Angeles, I was a writer the entire time as well. I
Sure.
worked with 2 amazing writing partners. We got super close to selling like 3 different scripts. Back when comedies still sold to anyone other than
Right.
Netflix.
Mhm.
Um, so I had been writing the entire time, and I started writing in high school. Like I said, Stephen King's my favorite writer, even though
Yeah.
I hate horror movies.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about
Hate them.
this.
We are going to
Okay.
talk about
Yeah.
this.
Hate them. Stephen King, my favorite writer. So
So
I'd
sci-fi,
always
sci-fi, yes. Horror, no.
horror. No, don't do
Okay.
horror
Okay.
movies.
Okay.
So I came back to Texas, and at the time, Austin was a big hub for video games, and
Mhm.
I loved video games.
Sure.
I was playing Grand Theft Auto Vice City,
Right.
back before half these kids were even an idea. So yeah, I loved video games, and I especially loved that video games at that time when I was playing them were
Mhm.
like playable movies.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is kind of great. This is awesome. And I thought, well, that's maybe someplace my skill set could fit. And I had a friend who worked at a company here, and I got a paid internship and just started working from the ground up. And I moved into the creative department, and then what's now known as a narrative designer,
Yeah.
fancy video game word for writer. Um,
It is.
Ended up working on some really cool games, like the big one that's coming out now, I think it's November 16th, is Assassin's Creed Nexus VR. And
Ooh,
I was part of the writing team for that. So,
that's incredible. Great franchise, obviously.
dude, that was
Assassin's
awesome.
Creed.
Really quick, I want to ask you, did Audible plan on dropping this before Halloween on purpose?
Maybe.
I
It
would
is
think
so
it was dropped on
perfect.
October 12th, so we should definitely mention that. It's already out
Yes.
on Audible. You can download every single episode, right?
Yeah, you can download them all at
Yeah.
once. You can binge
Yeah.
it. Like I said, it's about 8 hours. It's a ton of fun. It's got a lot of heart. It's also silly, but it's action packed. It's like a classic radio program.
I think the perfect place for this show is Halloween night as you're handing out candy
Yes.
and you have it in the background
It's
streaming.
playing in the background.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Absolutely.
dude, that's what we're going to do. Okay. So Jimmy, I know you're not a horror film fan, which
Sure.
is crazy.
Yeah,
'Cause-
we
yeah.
gave you homework, which
Yeah.
you rejected in your typical Jimmy fashion.
Oh yeah, he totally did.
You mean incredibly witty and humorous fashion. And then I did the homework.
All right. Tell us your favorite 5 Halloween movies.
Top 5 Halloween movies
Okay.
with
gonna go-
Jimmy Leary.
Jimmy Leary. I'm gonna I don't know where this fits, but The Thing.
The Thing.
John Carpenter's The Thing is a rare horror movie that I love. I have my stepdad. It's one of the only good things my stepdad ever did. He showed me that movie
Oh my
in
God.
1983.
How old were you? Like
1983.
7?
I was 10. We're Gen Xers. Our parents didn't care.
No, it's
Here's
true.
a cigarette. Here's a
Uh-huh.
beer.
Stand on the hump in the back seat and don't open your mouth. Yeah.
Look, no, sleep in the window
Yeah.
of the back
Yeah.
seat on long
Uh-huh.
car drives. Seatbelts,
Yeah.
what are those? Those are things we cut out of the car.
So at 10 years old, he turns on John Carpenter's The Thing
So
for
at
you.
10 years old, and I'm not allowed to watch R-rated movies, but somehow he lets me watch this film because he likes it.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a good one.
So The Thing, Get Out by Jordan
Oh,
Peele.
That's a good one.
Get
is-
Out. I have not seen Get Out,
that's,
believe it or
it's
not.
so
It's-
good.
I know.
It-
You've
live
seen
under
it.
a
So
rock.
here's the thing with me. I don't like schlock, although The Thing is total schlock. But I'm not a Saw fan. I don't like Hostel. I don't like Friday the 13th. I
Hostel
don't like
was one of
Freddy
my
Krueger
favorite.
movies. I don't
Right.
like any of the stabby. What gets me is like psychological stuff. So
Right.
Get Out, Army of Darkness.
I've
which
never seen that. What is it?
is groovy.
Is
So are you familiar with Evil Dead?
Yeah, it's a
Yes,
spinoff of one of the
yes.
Evil Dead.
It's the third
movies.
installment of the Evil Dead films. It's
Oh,
Bruce
okay.
Campbell, Sam Raimi before he's Sam Raimi.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, like, you must like Sam Raimi because like Drag Me to Hell is one of
Love
the.
Sam Raimi.
So Drag Me to Hell, I think, is the best horror film.
Yes. So Army of Darkness is Bruce Campbell epitomizing what it is to be Bruce Campbell.
Okay.
Right.
And that movie is an action horror comedy.
Yeah.
And I'll do that all day long.
It's kind of
Okay.
like what's that movie Woody Harrelson was in? Zombieland or
Zombieland.
something like
Yes.
Zombieland.
I love
it's
Zombieland.
It's similar.
Yep.
It's same tone. Same
All
tone.
right. So what's number? Then we have what's number 2,
Jaws.
of course.
Jaws.
That's not really horror.
It's
but go
totally
ahead.
horror because
No,
it
it's
could
not.
actually
Totally
happen.
horror. But that's what makes Jaws so amazing is
Right.
because the stupid shark didn't work, you never see the dumb shark.
No,
Right.
it's true. All right. And then what was number 1?
They hide the shark from you the entire time.
They did.
Number 1 is The Exorcist. That is
Oh,
the
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
scariest movie I've ever seen. I didn't see it until I was a freshman in college. I watched it with my 2 best friends in a dorm room. So a 12 by 14 foot dorm room. We watched it on VHS and
Uh-huh.
we were on a couch that was maybe this big.
And were you all like, ha, ha, ha,
Oh, we were at the beginning. We were like, 20 minutes in, we're like,
Yeah. I had a similar experience with a bunch of buddies. We were watching Pet Cemetery, and when the little kid comes out on Pet Cemetery, it's like, oh no, hell no. Turn it off.
No, okay. The movie that seriously, I've been with him for 25 years.
Yeah.
I've never seen him. He got up and he said, "What just happened? What am I watching?" The Conjuring.
The Conjuring. I let out a little pee.
No,
why? I'm not going to watch that.
Oh, it's Jimmy.
It's The Exorcist on steroids, bro.
No.
It is so nuts.
Jimmy, it's so scary. He literally got up off the couch.
Like, I gotta go change
goes,
my shorts.
What just happened right now?
And the kids were like their eyes were as big as saucers, but they loved it. Oh my god.
The kids.
Here's the
We're
thing.
terrible parents.
I know.
We literally, the kids watched The Conjuring.
I know.
We took Jonathan to go see King Kong when he was like 7.
Yeah.
King Kong literally rips something's head off. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like the 70s King Kong. Like Peter Jackson's King Kong is pretty
Real
violent.
brutal.
And again, my mother used to take me to the mall.
Yeah.
I was 8, 9, and she wanted to go shopping. She would go to like Marshall's and Filene's Basement and TJ Maxx and all the other places in the mall.
Yeah.
And she wanted to shop unencumbered, and she'd be like, "Here's $5.
Go see Porky's.
I was like,
You said Porky's.
Go see Porky's.
Porky's.
I
You
went and
said
saw
Porky's.
Beastmaster.
Oh my God, Jimmy, at
And
5.
that's before I was Beastmaster, I think I was 9
Oh,
Yeah.
by myself.
I know that's terrible parenting.
With
I'm talking to Diane.
I know, with Junior Mints, popcorn, and a Coke.
Uh-huh. Hey.
That movie was PG and has boobies.
Oh.
I would just look at whatever was playing and be like, that's probably going to have boobies. That's what I would like to see. Thank you, sir.
Oh.
And if it was rated R, she would buy the ticket, hand it to me, and then leave.
Okay, well, we appreciate you submitting your homework after a little bit of kicking and screaming. It's been an amazing episode. We are so happy you joined us today. I think it's a huge treat for all the people that listen to the show.
Oh, this is going to be the best episode. This is such a good episode, and it's a bonus Halloween. We have Halloween with Clem.
We have Halloween with Clem. Who else can say
you
that?
guys are both so good at this. Good Lord. No, I just want to say, you both have been two of my favorite people since we first met 20 some odd years ago. Thank you so much for having me on your show. This has been a delight just because I love you guys and I love hanging out with you. And this has been so much fun. So thank you.
The next one we do in person.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
Oh, you
And
better.
Can we? Okay, I want to buy the Clem costume. I wonder, is there a Clem costume?
1, I think the makeup company is out of business. 2, it was $1,800 worth of material.
Wow. Okay,
Holy
so I
Lord.
guess in person will just be us.
Yeah, it'll just
you
put
won't
a
be in
bunch of
costume.
just put a bunch of stuff on your face. You'll be fine.
Yeah, or just buy like a Patrick from SpongeBob costume and then
melt it.
mod it out. Yeah, melt
Okay.
it.
I want him in costume, not me. I wanted to buy a costume for him when we get
Denise,
together.
that
Oh.
costs money.
I know. Okay, fine. All right, whatever. It'll just be the 3 of us. It'll be the 3 of us.
It'll be the 3 of us.
Jimmy, thank you again.
Oh my God. Thank you guys so much. Again, I love you both. The podcast is incredible. Thank you for having me on.
We love you too. Congrats on your continued success. We appreciate every minute we spent with you today. Take them out.
Empty nest, full tank.
See you guys. Thanks, Jimmy.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.